in the midst of doing my coolant change, I found a little couple gremlins that what are you doing? He likes crumpled paper. Anyway, in the midst of doing that, the car would not start afterwards, but that's because I kept having to move the alternator. And then I found this. It'll focus right here. Corroded ground wire, which will lead to poor starting problems or no starting at all. So look at that. Look at all that stuff coming off. Your ground wire should never be doing that. So I got another one. It's over there somewhere. But I needed a new alternator. Probably just need a new strap, but I figured let me get a new alternator altogether to save myself future problems, because who knows if this is the original alternator that came in the car. I mean, it is Bosch, so I imagine it is one of the original ones. So I got a new one right here. Normally you'd pay for a new one and they charge you a core charge, which essentially is a kind of deposit type system where you buy the new part and then you send in the old part and then they refund you that core charge. I wasn't doing that because a brand new alternator was $160 something, and I was like, we're on a budget here, we're trying to make moves, so we're not going to do that. So I found this on eBay. This is a remanufactured one, which means this all can be taken apart and then all the components changed. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to screw things up, especially when it comes to electricity. I try not to mess with electronic components too much because I am not a service technician for electronics. Anyway, bought this one on eBay, no core charge, remanufactured. It looks clean. Everything's clean on it except this right here. So when they shipped it to me, it actually came with this piece, which goes right over here somewhere. Yeah, kind of like that, right? Fits. But then there's still this whole piece missing. So what I'm gonna do, or what I'm doing right now, is transferring the old one that used to sit right here. I already started taking it off. You know me, I just get to work, stop worrying about content or footage. Take this off, put it on that one, and then I'm probably gonna sell this on eBay. Like, I only paid I think it was $50 for this, something like that. It was actually a lot cheaper than I expected. I hope it works, because I mean they sent me a receipt with all the stats and stuff. They tested it. It's kind of oil gets on ink and it fades away. But anyway, I hope it works. All the components look fresh, like even the bushings and everything are in way better condition. So, excuse me, I'm gonna switch that around, put this on there, and then I have to get another. Put this on this one here, which goes right here. That's where this is. They're in different orientations. I have to crimp some power wire, and then I should be able to start the car. I'm probably gonna need a jump to do that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to set this up so it can be thrown back in the car and everything is hunky-dory. Downside about changing alternators and everything is that the fan and the belt assembly does not come with remanufactured new ones. So you got to take it off. So what I did, this was kind of stuck. Got my handy dandy vice grips. Again, always have vice grips. Held onto this bolt right here. Stuck my needle nose pliers into the fan against the table. Got some leverage. Went like this with the vice grips. A little bit of elbow grease and it popped free. So now I'm just taking it apart. I'm gonna slap that bad boy on there. Good part about it also is I got a new bolt, new crush washer. So these two can go basura. Boom. So today we're going to focus in. We're gonna cut this off completely, strip it back some, recrimp it so that when the alternator gets reattached, the alternator sits like right here. But once it gets reattached, we have a solid connection, because this is probably the reason also why the fucking alternator wouldn't charge the battery. The battery's dead. Also, we got a new ground cable. It's just gonna sit there. It's about 15 inches, a little overkill, but it's not the wrong way to. Anyway, oh, that's a fucking wasp. Oh, nah, bro. Bro, you gotta move from. No, sir. All right, we also gonna do the same thing down there with the alternator with the battery cable. We're gonna cut that back, take all that apart. Yo, you gotta move. Yeah, I'm not with that. I gotta, anyway, we gotta do all the same thing we're doing with the alternator wire, stripping, cut it, recrimp. We're gonna do it that. But I'm gonna move from him because this is his world. So I'm gonna just let him do him. Alright, so I moved to the trunk because he looked like he moved, but I'm gonna just vibe out on the trunk real quick. But essentially, what I have to do is for the positive terminal cables on the battery, put a new terminal on there. Pretty simple. I don't know if my gauge is supposed to be 4 gauge wire, which is pretty big, and this hole looks massive. But also, if you like invert this and screw it down, it serves the same purpose. So I got the 1 to 4 gauge, if that's what that means. I don't really know. That's confusing. That kind of whatever you want to call that. And then I got 62 just in case. Once I strip it, then I'll understand. Oh, it fits in this hole. It doesn't fit in this hole, etc. Whatever. This is for the alternator side. I needed 1. They don't come individually, they come in packs of 2, which is fine with me. Maybe down the line I'll need it again. So that 2 of those, that's gonna go up there. This is the new ground cable. I'll show you the old ground cable. I need that receipt. It's nice out. The old ground cable looks like this, right? So it's over 30 years old, as you can see. They probably tried to fix it, whatever the hell, electric tape type thing. But I'm gonna go up a little higher and put another one on there. This one looks a lot cleaner. So I think the holes are the same diameter or similar. If not, it does not matter. It's gonna serve the same purpose. And then I got my battery terminal protectors because it does get dusty in my engine bay, and that's because I don't think I have the under tray that's supposed to go on there. Anyway, I got the cutters, heavy duty, crimpers for 4 gauge wire because I believe that's what I have. And these are the terminal protectors that's going to go over these once I cut the alternator wire. And that's what we're going to be doing. Alright, so I'm about to do a little experiment I read online to get rid of the corroded ends. You see that's no good, but down there it looks pretty good, right? So what I have to do is mix any vinegar that you have with salt until it's mixed completely. What that does is that's basically super acid. And that acid is going to eat the corrosion, but it continues to eat at the wire until there's no more, essentially. So you mix together water and baking soda. Please don't run in the street. Water and baking soda, and that makes your base. So acid plus base basically equals 0. So acid, think of the pH scale and all that. So one is way acidic, one is way basic. They cancel out each other. So what I got to do is let this wire sit in this acidic solution, and then put it there, and it should be not perfect, but all the corrosion should be gone. I stripped that side down way too far. As you can see, I took the wire out just to see where it went. And I'm gonna try it on that side too. I probably have to get more wire for it because I cut it back too far. So that's 4 gauge. I got a butt connector for it, but I'll show that part next. But now we're just gonna dip it in here, see what happens. As you can see, the corrosion is gone. Corrosion is gone. It's not all the way gone, but it's better than new. I put a battery cable connector cover over it so that when I hook up the new one, it's not exposed to the elements which lead to that corrosion. And also dielectric grease. I'm going to put some dielectric grease over it so that it can conduct electricity properly and prevent corrosion from happening again. So now I'm going to move on to the other side and see what's up. So I rewrapped the wires that I initially stripped off to get to the power wire that goes to the alternator. I have it in here to test fit it, but stripped the wires back, spun them together. It's not my best work, but now I'm gonna put the 4 gauge, what is this called? A lug connector on it, crimp it with my crimper, heavy duty John. And then it's gonna fit. I already tested how long it is. It's as long as I put this up to the maximum point on the chain tensioner. I mean the belt tensioner, and this part fits. This part fit before, and there's nothing wrong with this. So I'm still gonna keep it as it is. But I'm gonna put this on there, and then have a little heat shrink on it so that I can put it over the edge and further protect it from the elements. Put some dielectric grease on it too, so that it can also stay even more protected. But hopefully This solves all my problems for the alternator and the battery. Alright, so I got the new capacitor in the mail. It's another day. Buttoned up the ends on this, the ends on that one. Got a little cover now so it shouldn't get corroded. Ground cable is kind of thick and too long, but I'm gonna let it rock. So right now I'm just gonna attach the capacitor to here, plug this in here, plug this end in here, attach the other blue cable here, put it on the bracket, tighten it up, put the belts on. And I already tested the battery. The battery has 12 volts. I checked it with the multimeter. So it has to be either this alternator or the starter. The car is starting fine, so I don't think it's the starter. I believe it's the alternator. So after we start it, let it run for 30 minutes because this all happened because I'm trying to change the coolant. And I have to, service this area. So I ended up finding out that this piece was very bad. But anyway, I'm gonna button all that up, let it run for 30, drain the coolant, and put new coolant in. So after starting my car, well, it wouldn't start actually. As you can see, it's reading 11 volts. Your battery should always read between 12 and 14 if the car is on. If it's anything lower than that, then it's your battery's probably dead. So my battery was dead, and it turned out that for my car, there's a circuit that's only completed when the bulb inside the instrument cluster for the battery is in. I left it out, so my battery ended up dying. And the issue never was my alternator in the first place. It was actually just me missing the instrument cluster that I had already taken out. But you can see that my battery is reading 11 and it was dead. So I went out, bought a new charger for it, charged the battery up, returned the charger, and then put the instrument cluster back in and then started the car. So after I charged it and everything, I plugged up the instrument cluster and everything, and then my battery started reading 14 like it should, and then everything was solved.